Have you ever fallen in love with a fictional character? That could mean a lot of different things for you. Perhaps you wouldn't call it romantic, but you feel a certain amount of admiration and respect for them. Maybe as simple as you finding them attractive, maybe you think they're charming and wish they can meet someone in real life as funny or as driven as them. This character may be in a book, you might have met them in a game, maybe you're smitten at the sight of the lines and the shades that paint the contours of their face, or perhaps their voice simply made you feel safe. Have you ever felt profound embarrassment whenever you considered those thoughts? They shouldn't feel this way, it's just fiction, just good acting, good writing, good character design. But have you ever found yourself thinking about that character hours and days later, whenever you weren't even consuming the story that they live in? If your answer to that question was yes, then you have fallen for a character. How far have you explored that? Have you held imaginary conversations with them? How many times have you viewed the scenes that they're in? Have you written fan fiction about that character? Have you mentally written yourself into the story and became their new love interest? What do you say to them? What do they say back? Have you drawn fan art? What kind? What kind have you looked at? How much stuff have you bought to express that affection? Do you really look forward to those chapters with them? For some, this isn't just an idle fantasy. In this Reddit post, for example, a person claims that being in love with a fictional character saved their life after a family member had a near-death experience. They say whenever things changed drastically back at home, they had to find an escape to mentally cope with it all. So, they turned to their favorite fictional crush. This infatuation went so deep they spent all of their time together, consuming as much as they could about them. The writer even goes on to say that if they had not found that character and fell so hard, they would not have had the strength to continue or the will to go on. Which brings us to a fantastic question. Why do these fictional characters resonate so deeply with people? Why do they sometimes feel more real or meaningful than real-world relationships? That question connects directly to the myth of Pygmalion. At the heart of the myth lies a king named Pygmalion. This king of Cyprus, in particular, was renowned for his ability to create lifelike statues out of ivory. He was also a bachelor through no small fault of his own accord. You see, while on his quest to find the perfect queen for him, he grew disillusioned. In his eyes, every woman around him failed to measure up to the ideals he had in his mind. They were simply too flawed, too weird, too boring. So instead of finding the perfect woman, Pygmalion thought he could just create his own. This profound desire for control and perfection was nothing more than a reflection of his own ideals and fantasies. Driven by this fantasy, Pygmalion made a statue so flawless that it surpassed anything he had ever encountered, and thus the true delusion began. He began to treat this statue as if it was alive, as if it was his lover. He would dress her in the finest clothing he could find, don her with jewelry, and hand her presents and food. He would even whisper sweet nothing into her non-existent ear. It seemed unlike there was a more woman in real life. He truly loved this woman in particular, maybe because his statue never rejected his image. Through all of this, Ovid dives into the complexity of love and idealization, which begs the question, to what extent do the lines between reality and illusion blur? Would it be considered wrong to continue to live in this fantasy then? Is it a form of escapism from the harsh reality that Pygmalion must confront? Interestingly enough, that question would never be answered because Pygmalion got what he wanted in the end. On the day of Venus's festival, or Aphrodite, he made his way to her temple once more to pray for a wife who possessed the same beauty and virtue as his beloved statue. Moved by his love, the goddesses granted him his wish. This transformation of the statue into a living woman serves as a commentary on the nature of idealization and the thin line between reality and illusion, as mentioned before. Pygmalion's idealization reflects a broader cultural concern with the pursuit of perfection. In his attempt to create the perfect woman, he removes her humanity by reducing her to an object of desire. While the act leads to the creation of something beautiful, it also reveals the inherent limitations of this kind of control, because the statue is still subject to the complexities and imperfections of human nature once it becomes alive. So the pursuit of perfection may be futile in this regard. In conclusion, the myth of Pygmalion was driven by a profound feeling of loneliness and a fear of imperfection, because he sought solace in the creation of an idolized figure and desired a love that was devoid of the messiness of real relationships. It invites reflection of how our own ideals and feelings can distort our views of reality. Fast forward to today, and we can find many stories that echo Pygmalion's themes, like I mentioned a bit with that Reddit post in the beginning. But I want to take a deeper look into the film called Her, directed by Spike Jonze in 2013. In Her, Theodore falls in love with an AI operating system that manages all of his devices. It might seem like science fiction, but in many ways, it's a reflection of our own real world relationship with technology and our desire for connection. When the film was released, some viewers thought that it was just a futuristic fantasy, an exaggerated look at what might come, but over time, many realized that it's not so far fetched from our current experience. With virtual assistants, social media, and digital companions, we are increasingly forming emotional bonds with non human entities. The movie Her explores profound themes, like what does it mean to love? Can love exist between a human and an artificial intelligence? This is explored with how Samantha, the AI, begins as a programmed entity but soon develops emotions and genuine love for Theodore. Then their relationship challenges the notion that love must be physical or even biological to be authentic, much like Pygmalion's relationship with his statue. So both the myth of Pygmalion and the film Her highlights the profound human tendency to seek perfection, connection, and understanding through creations, whether through statues, characters, or AI. These stories reveal our desire to escape loneliness, to create ideal companions, and to find meaning in relationships that challenge the boundaries of reality. They also serve as a reflection of ourselves, our hopes, fears, and the ways we project our deepest desires onto the imperfect world, or onto the perfect illusions we create. Whether through myth, literature, or film, these narratives ask us to consider what love really is, how much of it is about the other person, or our own longing, and whether the line between reality and illusion can ever truly be clear. And then, perhaps our fascination with fictional and artificial characters aren't just a form of escapism, but a mirror to our innermost need to connect, to be understood, and to find a sense of belonging in a complex and imperfect world.